Welcome to another video, which sounds kinda harsh towards the developers of Final Fantasy XIV, but it really isn't meant like that. Nor is it of the essence that the gear system is in any bad shape. This shall serve basically as a conclusion to the last couple of weeks when looking at some, in my opinion, unnecessary design flaws of how content has been created around the natural gearing system of weekly tomestones plus savage gear that usually form each job's best in slot gear since at least Heavensward. So before anyone is going wild and crazy, I like Final Fantasy XIV's gearing system and I don't want it to be like WoW. I'm really glad to have it simple and consistent and that it offers very solid catch-up mechanics. Yet there had been much talk about the inherent flaws of substats, methods to acquire gear and how problematic a one character all jobs philosophy is affected by all these ideas. Even Criterion dungeons that I guess all people expected to provide further methods and ways to decrease the limitations of gear acquisitions by adding tokens, tomes or just a slimmed down version of savage gear for those players who aren't into savage raiding but still want a difficult challenge and at least some character equipment progression. But we didn't get any of this.
Why could I get a fucking materia, bro? And it's, dude, it's only one. It's a single materia.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. That's so
good. Why? You clear
why can't it be 10, right?
You clear ass 7,
like, is that too much? Is 10 gonna break the balance of the game, crash the fucking market?
And what this all boils down to is time gating and the very late cut of weekly limitations on savage loot, a very slow tombstone cap that isn't slow by itself, but when you add at least one other job into your roster, this tombstone cap will hinder your progress for a long time. Moreover, the fact that as soon as Square thinks to have gated enough time for players, they come up with a 24-man raid and catch-up tokens, catch-up augmented crafted gear, and here you go. Subscribe to 14 again and hop into the raids.
Nice.
Which always seems to happen kinda randomly, but maybe whenever active player numbers are lowering. And to be honest with you, this is actually not Yoshida but the whole management of Square Enix that works behind the curtain as well, because I cannot believe that a billion-dollar company puts all the responsibility for their best running horse at the hands of a single man. I mean, he saved it the one or the other time, but when the fruits are ready to be cropped, there will always be greedy harvesters to help with the reaping, right? And don't let yourself be fooled, Square cashes a lot with Final Fantasy XIV, even if 1 million active subscribers are a number to believe in, this is literally 11 to 13 millions of cash every month. Not mentioning the Mox Station cash shop or the additional services like retainers that some people need because the glamour system still sucks. And please note here that I'm not putting the responsibility of these decisions onto the whole team, which is responsible for the great game we play, but the greedy managers behind them, and current decisions on the cash shop to defend themselves against real money trade are definitely a good indication. Yo Square, stopping gifts for other players is your best solution? This really sounds like that we're not far away from a legal in-game token to get Gil for a certain amount of cash, and I hope someone stands up against that idea. There's just too much coincidence leading to this whole analysis. No rewards for something that obviously every 14 player expected for Criterion dungeons, except they knew Square would piss their pants to actually do it. Housing crisis and technically needing to be subscribed to the game to participate, the very late removal of weekly loot limitations or introduction of catch-up gear all lead to a construct of time-gated gear. That feels very weird and obsolete in a game where we live by the words of play whenever you like, enjoy whatever you like. No sir, I need the freaking best in slot for Criterion Savage, so I need to play a lot of stuff beforehand. I mean, most of the casual players are fine, they don't care about gear and playing duty roulettes, the normal version of Criterion, relics or the like might suit them. But why can't we just get one token per week to upgrade the tombstone gear to 630? Yes, nobody expected that they introduce a whole new set like we had in Bosnia or Eureka, and this might really be reserved for the Mandeville sets, but just materia, that's a joke, right? Not that I would even get there with my 612 item level. In all honesty, with just some very minor changes, this content could be solving the gearing problem of the whole intermediate player base that sometimes just lacks the time and nerves to form parties with 7 other people to grind down savage bosses. Not mentioning ultimate content. We just wanted something that is a bit more solid than Palace of the Dead with actual rewards and with a small group. I wanted that for a long time, but not just for the engagement, but for pushing my character to another gear level as well. The same being said about Crystalline Conflict. It is really good, I love it, and I would gladly solo ladder my way up to Crystal again, but without any reward at the top other than job icons for my in-game business card, no thank you. Yes, they did one really good thing compared to the previous tiers or even expansions, Abyssal Savage gear looks insanely good, and is worth farming for the looks alone. But I'm just sad to know this is all we got, and even ultimate weapons are not guaranteed to be an eye-catcher anymore, when they just throw in the particle randomizer over an actually well-designed piece of weapon art. It just feels that the game is getting more narrow with each new form of content, instead of spreading its variety out to create possible methods for all types of players to progress with their character and the jobs they play. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of skirmishes and some aspects of Bosnia, but I felt like it's a great succession to Eureka, and a simple quest line grinding down tomestones and stuff like that is definitely a step backwards when looking at the prospective Endwalker relic content. To sum it up, the game has all the potential in it, someone just needs to work on that and maybe put aside the business decisions to favor the quality of content. Like Happy said, all this is crying on high standards, and Final Fantasy XIV will still be Final Fantasy XIV at the end of the day. But that doesn't hinder anyone to wish for improvements. Sphere, for example, with his post is absolutely on point, and the aspects he mentioned might not apply to all players. But on the opposite side, fixing these issues will not make the game worse for anyone either. Because what many players misunderstand is that some people want Square not to reshape our beloved crystal, but round up its flaws to make it shine even brighter than before. From a distant view, it will still be the same crystal. But looking closer, it should resemble its beauty as well, right? So please Square, stop time-gating content, stop making gear systems so narrow, and nurture the tasty fruits your game has to offer. You have many loyal fans, me included, and we love this game for a reason. Sometimes a bit too much even, but as passion has the word pass in it, tread wisely with your content decisions, as loyalty is something that needs to be maintained by virtue of the road you walk to earn it.